Hello and welcome to our coverage of the Netrunning York Store Championships, which took place at the end of January. My name is CJ and this is round 1, game 2. We have Jordan, who's playing Jinteki PE, versus Stephen, who is playing Reina. If you remember our coverage of game 1, Jordan won with the Professor. He starts the game by subliminal messaging for 3 credit. Makes an external, and Mushin's out a second external. So pretty much doing what P does of going horizontal early on.
Oh, right, so am I the wrong way around? Sorry.
Stephen just asking, was confused there because I think Jordan's servers were the wrong way around than most people play them. But on to the runner's turn. He starts off with grabbing some econ with Sure Gamble. And straight away starts checking the Jinteki's remotes, finding a melange mining cord, which is prompted trashed. Draws a card with click 3 and installs a console with his final click, which is deep red.
I think we'll start with scoring House of Knives.
The Mushin thing was a House of Knives, which Jordan scores early on. Doing a net damage with his identity, taking I think that's a rook, and just having a House of Knives scored early on. Those counters can be quite the tempo swing against an aggressive runner. I think he drew a card for his second click and is making a new external for click 3. And back to the runner. The runner draws a card into Katie Jones and plays her, charges her up and draws another card.
Choice of word. Managed to draw. Okay, I will. Was like the last 2 games I played Katie. I've had nothing. You didn't run that turn. You won the messaging.
Because Stephen didn't run, Jordan gets subliminal messaging back and plays it for the 3 credit. And ices over R&D. Hedge fund to get some econ going, and I think he makes another remote server. First click, he checks the remote that was installed the other turn and not touched, and runs into a psychic field. So they play a little side game now. If they spend different, Stephen will lose his hand. And Jordan spends nothing to Stephen's 2, so Stephen pays 2 credits for the privilege of discarding his entire hand there. Stephen draws back up 2 cards and just gains a credit.
Oh, sorry, you didn't trash? Apologies. Are you going to trash it? Oh, okay. Right, so managed to draw. I think my turn's going to be spent triple advancing and scoring a second House of Knives.
Jordan triple advances and scores a second House of Knives.
Your turn? Oh, yeah.
Plinking out a Sure Gamble from Stephen's hand. Stephen has no credits and just draws some cards and charges Miss Jones. Jinteki having 2 early House of Knives scored is massive, because the runner can't really afford to drop to 2 low cards before making a run, out of fear of just getting zapped by House of Knives counters into snare. So Jinteki looking to be in a very good position here as he makes a remote server with his 3rd click, I believe, and passes. Reina gets money off Katie and installs Ice Carver, which is just slightly up Cameron's field of view there. Not really too sure on the play of Ice Carver when there's only one ice on the field, but maybe he was scared of losing it to net damage and playing a Mimic, which is the icebreaker you want against Jinteki, as they tend to run a lot of sentries. He didn't make a run, so he gets the free money off of subliminal messaging. Advances the card twice with clicks 1 and 2, and installs ice over the external for click 3. Sort of telegraphing it's an agenda, or could be a really interesting double bluff. Reina Forge activation orders the ice, which Jordan sacrifices. He runs with click 2, chooses not to jack out, takes 1 net damage from the House of Knives like we were talking about earlier, and accesses a fetal AI with just 1 card in his hand to flatline him. Putting Jordan at both games in the round 1, and that concludes the coverage of round 1.